like a pair of jazz musicians, forever improvising.
That was the teaser for the beautifully told debut book, Open Water. It tells the story of two young black British artists falling in love in South London. He's a photographer and she's a dancer. It's also a love song to black art, music and thought. The author is the British-Ghanaian writer and photographer Caleb Azumah Nelson, who joins me from his home in London. Caleb, hello, congratulations, what a beautiful book.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Now, this is a tough time to be a debut novelist, and with so many of the usual channels for promoting new writing suspended in the UK, bookshops are closed, literary festivals are postponed or made virtual. How are you feeling about having a new novel at this time?
It's obviously been very nerve-wracking, and I think because I've been waiting for so long, there's this real sense of anticipation. But I'm really grateful for the books community and just people generally who have reached out and have supported and have found new ways to support the book virtually as well. So I'm really grateful for that.
And in Open Water, two young people meet at a pub in southeast London. Both are black British, both won scholarships to private schools where they struggled to belong. Both are now artists trying to make their mark in a city that both celebrates and rejects them. The man is a photographer. His parents are from Ghana. He lives in southeast London. To what degree is this an autobiography?
I think it's less autobiographical than it is personal. I think a lot of the specific events didn't happen, but when I was writing, I kind of started from feelings that I knew and then worked towards crafting fictional events that could house those feelings.
One of my favourite lines in the book is, "It's one thing to be looked at and another to be seen." One of the issues the book explores is what it means to be identified by the world as a black person, to be seen only as a black body. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
I think it was, at the time, I was really thinking about the way that blackness is perceived, and wondering about the kind of amalgamation of the idea of blackness rather than allowing black people to be individuals and define blackness on their own terms.
And has the police harassment you write about been a feature of your own life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think less so now that we're kind of in and outdoors because of the pandemic, but it's been a constant presence in my life and in the life of the community around me for all my life that I can remember.
So what sort of things are you talking about?
We're talking mostly stop and searches, searches of cars being pulled over, and often there's not really any reason behind it, but you can clearly see a trend. And I don't know, I think when I was growing up, I wondered whether this was something that I just experienced, and then I began to realize that the community around me, other black people, were suffering in the same way, and could see that it wasn't just a me-specific target, but a structural and institutional problem.
And so has this book been a way of processing all of that for you?
I think the book was a way of me reckoning with myself and traumatic things that have happened to me, but also really joyous things that have happened to me. I think it was a way of kind of processing quite an acute sort of grief whereby you lose your identity when you're not seen as you want to be seen. And I think this book was me processing that idea.
Now, the book celebrates black achievement with many references to songs and songwriters. I wanted to talk about some of them with you, starting with the London rapper Dizzy Rascal. His 7th album came out recently called E3AF. This is the latest video from it with Ocean Wisdom called Don't Be Dumb.
Don't be dumb, cause you'll get spun, and it won't be fun, you'll be glum. I'm not your chum, no, I ain't the one. Got a whole lot of lip and a whole lot of tongue, but what have you done? Don't be dumb, cause you'll get spun, and it won't be fun, you'll be glum. I'm not your your chum. No, I ain't the one. Got a whole lot of lip and a whole lot of tongue.
Now, this album's title, E3 AF, is a nod to Dizzy's status as a grime music original from East London, E3 being the East London postcode where he and grime grew up, and AF is a reference to his Ghanaian and Nigerian heritage. You cite his first album in the book, Boy in the Corner. Was that seminal for you?
Yeah, like at the time that I heard it, I was maybe a little bit too young to hear it. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I remember I used to do martial arts, and we went to a tournament down by the coast, I think in Bournemouth, and one of the guys who was older, I think he was about 15 or 16 at the time, had it on cassette, like an actual cassette, and gave me his when I'd heard it playing over the coach loudspeaker, and I just remember listening to it and I was like, I've not heard anything like this. Like I felt like I could hear me and my own experiences rendered in song.
You also mentioned musicians such as Kendrick Lamar and Frank Ocean. Someone I didn't know, though, was the cellist and singer Kelsey Lou. This is called Morning Dew. Take a listen.
The calluses of your heart are growing harder, reaching out my hand into the darkness of your sorrow.
Caleb, how did you choose the artists that you cite in the book?
I think it felt like quite an organic process. Like I think it's quite synergistic in the way that I would, I'd understand that I was trying to write about a moment of fear, or like trying to build tension, or I was trying to write like a moment of intimacy. And a lot of the songs or the artist reference emerged from things that I already loved. And when I inserted them into the narrative, it provided another dimension that I didn't quite expect, because in a way I was responding to the work as well as writing off it.
It's like there's a soundtrack or something, and when you're reading the book, as I was going along, I was playing the music as I was reading. You talk also about Barry Jenkins' Oscar-winning Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk. His highly anticipated new work is a TV series called The Underground Railroad, an adaptation of Colson Whitehead's 2017 Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. Let's take a look. There are so many diverse projects at the moment, Caleb, in film, art and literature. Do you think that something is shifting for artists of colour? Is it an exciting time to be creating?
It's a really exciting time, I think, at the moment, where I think more people are like feeling like, I think they're feeling braver and feeling more courageous and understanding that their voices should be heard as they always should have been. And I think I'm really looking forward to so many different pieces of art emerging over the next few years and the foreseeable future.
Now, the British-Ghanaian painter Lynette Yudum Boakye is cited in the book, known for her portraits of fictitious people. You're working on your own series of portraits of Black people in their everyday moments. Tell us about her influence on your work.
I think there's a way of seeing that often is, I don't know how tangible it is, but there's a way of like seeing and processing and understanding the world that I share with her, or at least I feel I do, because of our British-Ghanaian heritage. And I think there's something really gorgeous about her figures, which have emerged from like a lifelong process of just like crafting. Her portraits really afford Blackness this idea of infinity, and that Blackness could be anything. And that's something that I'm striving towards. And
Lynette Yudum Boakye has an exhibition at the Tate Britain in London until May called Fly in League with the Night. The museum, of course, is currently closed in the UK, but you've actually had a chance to see it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I saw it. It was open for about 2 weeks, and I had the chance to review it, and it's honestly nothing short of spectacular. Like I was kind of going around the gallery and just like mouth just open, and I was astounded at so many different points. It's such like a rich exhibition, and there's so much work in there that I can't wait to go back and see it again.
Okay, well, we're going to play out with a taster of that exhibition. Caleb, just before we go, what are you working on now?
I'm working on a new novel at the moment, which is like, yeah, I'm in that process of gestation where I'm just letting everything come towards me. But I will be exploring like similar ideas of love and of community and of freedom and blackness again.
Caleb Azumah Nelson, your book is called Open Water. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.